one fateful day, I watched something that would change my life forever. Yo! Some days ago, I had asked you to ask me anything that you would like to know about this channel, be it about music, piano, anime, or even Hololive. And there have been some questions. And since this is a Christmas video, while I do not have gifts to give you, I will be answering these questions. And because this is a special occasion, we need a hat. Wrong hat. We need a proper hat. Perfect. So I do realize that I did not ask the owners of these questions whether they would be comfortable having their profiles mentioned, like how streamers would acknowledge the donor's name when they receive a donation. So at least for this video, all these questions will be anonymous. But I do remember the names of those profiles, and thank you for participating. So here's the first question. Since when you started to learn piano and the reason behind it? I started largely due to being inspired by my elder sister who could play both the violin and the piano. It is common to find such scenarios where the younger sibling would want to follow whatever the older sibling does, and such was my case. However, there is a second part to this answer which is coming up later in the video. So subscribe and beat up this like button so that we can proceed to the next part. You are a kind soul. Next question. What is the most fun Hololive song you've played? Throughout the entire time making Hololive piano videos, I've always managed to find certain unique elements that will make that particular piece fun or at least enjoyable to prepare. If we can disregard the factors that were discussed in the previous video, then almost everything was fun to play. But there is one that left a very deep impression, and that would definitely be Pecora's BGM. Pecora's BGM was really bobbing when I first discovered Hololive, and I believe we can agree on this. And the BGM naturally stuck to me quite quickly, and partly because of how much of a comedian Pecora was. And the next reason was having been able to include a unique boogie-woogie part in my piano arrangement. I had always wanted to include such a boogie-woogie element in whatever I made, and having successfully incorporated that particular element into Pecora's BGM made the piece even more enjoyable and even more fun to play. And it also made it stand out in the sea of YouTube videos that you can find out there. It also makes you feel like you want to dance, doesn't it? So having successfully incorporated that boogie-woogie section has made Pecora's BGM the most fun Hololive piano video that I've ever prepared. Next question. Why are you so cool? You're cool as well. Real question. When did you start learning piano? Well, I started at a young age, so I can't really recall exactly which age, maybe 5 or 6. And at that time, I wanted to learn simply because my sister was playing this piece called Canon. And many times I was moved by how beautiful Canon actually sounded. So off I went to ask my parents if I could also learn piano, and off we went to register for some lessons. How did your channel turn into a Holo song tutorial plus Hololive song piano version? It was a gradual change, I would say. I started my channel as a general piano channel, uploading covers of songs I like, ranging from K-pop, K-dramas to English songs and to Mandarin songs as well. Then one fateful day, I watched something that would change my life forever. Anime. What? You thought it was something else? And that was when I discovered, in my opinion, one of the best pop genre in modern music, anime/J-pop music, which I then kept playing and uploading for a majority of my channel for the past few years. And finally, when Hololive came along last year, my interest went towards that direction, and it became the focus of my channel. Like mentioned in the previous video, Shiny Smiley Story and Comet really got me into Hololive music, and I believe Ubuki's original Fanfare was also one of the first few early Hololive music that I came across, and it really got me hooked to them. And that's the history of my channel's evolution. Though as it seems, it's most likely heading towards a meme lord channel with the way it's going with the shorts till now. Main question. Who is your favorite Holo VTubers? Rank the first 3. Now this is a difficult question and really requires high IQ to answer. But one of them should already be obvious by now. I'll give 3 hints. However, I do watch other members' streams quite regularly as well, so long as their timing doesn't clash with my schedule.
Boy.
Next question. Do you ever think you're not as good as your expectations and giving up on piano? Now this is an important question. Yes, I do think I'm not as good as I expect myself to be. There have always been times when I wished that I was more talented so that I could learn a piece faster, execute more fancy techniques, and also just to be able to make more videos and just push it out to YouTube. It takes time to learn these pieces by ear, and because I'm not perfect pitch, it does take some time to explore the entire piece and to recognize areas where you can execute some techniques or include certain elements in it to make the song spicier. I wish I was perfect pitch, but I'm not. But I don't want to use that as an excuse to not good at piano. Hence, that's where consistent practice comes in. And like Rock Lee once said, hard work beats talent. It's still something that I relate to, even though that quote was said very many years ago, and I want to live up to that statement. So practicing consistently is what I strive to, not just to improve as a musician, pianist, but also to bring better music to you. And giving up on piano, this is where I answer more in depth to the previous few questions. Surprise, surprise, I did give up on piano a very long time ago when I was a kid, simply because I failed a grade 2 theory exam. At that time, I was too young to understand music theory, and even though I did ask to learn piano, I didn't have the discipline to practice consistently, and I did not have the perseverance to see through tough times, like where things get a bit boring, or such as in my case, I failed the exam. So I quit, a very bad decision, only to pick it back up again 5 years later. So thanks to that experience, and also in other moments where childish decision making was involved and didn't lead to any fruitful outcomes, I have an issue with giving up. Oftentimes it's a matter of questioning yourself whether you've done enough to deserve what you want, or simply being put in a situation where you simply cannot do anything about it. And now, maturing from those past moments, most of the time I tend to believe that it is simply not doing enough to deserve the results that you want. So hence, as mentioned in the previous video, even as things aren't quite as smooth or progressing as how I wanted them to be, I cannot give up. In fact, I won't give up, simply because I haven't done enough things to deserve my YouTube dreams of getting that silver play button. Perhaps I might sound to be contradicting myself since I've given up on piano before, but maturing from the time that I picked up piano a second time, I began to love music and develop a genuine interest and passion towards it. And looking back from that time, I did learn a painful lesson that giving up just simply isn't worth it. 5 years is a lot of time. Imagine all the skills and techniques I could have developed if I had consistently practiced throughout those 5 years. But having said that, I refuse to see those moments as regrets, but I do acknowledge that it has become part of my history. If I hadn't quit music, I might not have developed this higher sense of appreciation for music or towards my instrument, and maybe I wouldn't even get onto this path of making piano videos for YouTube, and perhaps I might not have even come across meeting you. So maybe, in hindsight, if I hadn't left music all those years ago, I might not be the person who I am today. So those 5 years, I guess they were there for a reason. Next question. How much do you practice in a day? What is your motivation? Back in the day when I still had a lot of time, I was able to practice up to 6 hours a day, 4 to 6 hours a day. 2 hours in the morning, 1 to 2 hours in the afternoon, and another 1 to 2 hours in the evening. Right now, with more commitments and significantly less time, I strive to practice or do anything music related for at least 2 hours a day. It doesn't necessarily have to be 2 hours in one sitting. It can be 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Or just maybe 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours at night. That would be the best. And here is an important note. It is vital to not be bored by your own practice sessions, be it being bored at what you're practicing or being bored simply because of the time you set yourself to practice. Feelings can get in the way, so it's important to practice while your heart is still at it. Once it's not, it's best to just call it a day and come back again tomorrow. The idea is not to force yourself to practice. Set a schedule, be disciplined enough to follow it, and then your practice sessions will be much easier to handle. And what about my motivation? My motivation back then was simply to get better at piano, and hence the long hours. And it was also a way to find a piece or genre that I would find fun and engaging to play. Nowadays, it's leaning more towards preparing the piece for my next YouTube video and going for a higher sub count to achieve that silver play button. So subscribe and beat up the like button, and we will move on to the next question. How many years you learn piano, sir? No need to sir. If we start from the time I picked up piano again after I came back after those 5 years, then it would be at least 6 years under the guidance of a teacher in the ABRSM music course, and at least another 4 years of me self-learning by uploading videos to YouTube, all with the goal of trying to be better. Now this begs an important question. Do you need to take lessons? Here's what I believe. Lessons are important to develop your skills, your interests, and your passion. The interaction between you and your teacher makes developing those 3 items very much easier. A good teacher will be able to get you through the exams no problem, but an excellent music educator will be able to develop all the abstract things related to music, and that is your interest, your passion, and your soul towards the art. If you're just starting off, lessons are incredibly useful to build your basic foundations, and the rest of your progression is largely dependent on your interest and your passion to be motivated to practice your materials. And do you need to take all the way from grade 1 to grade 8? This is for the ABRSM course. I would say no, it is not necessary to take all the way from grade 1 to grade 8. However, if you wish to pursue a tertiary education in music, then take the grades as high as you can and ace the exams as well as you can. Because I believe some schools do require them as a form of qualifications to enter their school. However, if you're a person who wishes to explore music on your own and you would like to practice your own things rather than be constrained by a rigid course and practice 3 pieces just to pass an exam, and you see that music is more than just passing exams, then lessons aren't quite for you. You could still take lessons to build your basic foundations and then move on by yourself to explore your own preference, your own taste, and your own style. I know a lot of people who have all the graded exams and went for a tertiary music education, and they're excellent musicians. But I also know people who did not have those graded exams and also did not choose to pursue music as their tertiary education, and still they are fantastic musicians and amazing people as well. So there's no solid yes or no for the question if you really need lessons in music. It depends on where you are in life and how you want to use your music education. But what cannot be absent at all is your interest and your passion for the art, regardless of which instrument you're learning. Because ultimately, anything that you pursue with a genuine interest won't just become a hobby, it becomes your lifestyle. And if you're wondering, no, I did not choose music as a tertiary education choice. Sometimes I do imagine what would life be like had I chosen music as a tertiary education, but oh well. Next question. Will you release MIDI for your videos? Now I've gotten this question quite often, and I've been thinking about it, but at the moment I don't think I'll be releasing any MIDI formats for my music, though maybe in the future I will. What other instruments can you play? I used to be able to play guitar, and I did attend some lessons for it, but there's a compromise if you're learning guitar and piano at the same time. For guitar, it is recommended that you grow out your nails a bit so that it is easier to pluck the strings. However, you cannot have nails when you're learning the piano. It will just produce some really disturbing noises. You hear that? Maybe you're not too affected by your own self making those noises, but to your audience and maybe to your teacher, it can be very, very disturbing. So in the end, I learned those 2 instruments at the same time, and then finally I decided that piano would be my one and only faithful instrument. If I could learn a new instrument, then I think I would rather choose to learn either a cello or a saxophone, because I personally think that both instruments sound very sexy. So those are the questions for this video. I hope I was able to answer them well and that you managed to get something out of it. And thank you again for this question. If this has been helpful and you would like more of these Q&A videos, and leave a comment. Till then, this has been the Christmas special video, so subscribe, beat up that like button, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Merry Christmas. No, I don't punch people on Christmas. Violence is bad.
Boy.